Hi, and welcome to another episode of Rate That Album. With your hosts, myself, Paul Muad'Dib, and Joseph Fremming. Joe, how you doing, buddy?
Yeah.
I'm here. A thing happened this week, didn't it, Joe?
It sure did.
Before we begin, Joe, any plugs? What's going on with you guys over at the Joe Down?
We'll be coming back in a few weeks with Manhunter, and then after that, because I'm gonna exact revenge on Brown for putting us on hiatus, we're doing the entire the Snyder cut of Justice League.
Oh, now let me just say that I think we said this before in the other podcast. I love Manhunter. So I'm excited to see your guys' take on it. Personally, I think he's probably the best movie with Hannibal Lecter ever made. That's my opinion. It's my opinion.
Yeah. It's probably my second favorite Hannibal Lecter too. It's Brian Cox, but
yeah. Yes. So good. Okay. Well, that's cool. Let's get into it here. We did a doozy of an album. We did Sweet Revenge by Amanda Lear. Now, Joe, were you familiar with this album and or artist in any way, shape, or form before our podcast?
No, and I have a feeling there was a reason why. And then I listened to this album and I was like, yep, that's why I've never heard of her.
So the only way that I've learned about this and why we did this album was I have a subscription to Full Moon Features, which is like a B-movie consortium, as it were, of streaming. All the Puppet Masters are on there. All the Charles Band produced movies, which are always like these C/B grade movies. And on this was this thing called Crazy Disco. And it starred this Amanda Lear. And I was like, what is this? And it is nothing but her like half naked through the entire movie. Okay? And we'll talk about that. Let's also talk about Amanda Lear and what the fuck is an Amanda Lear. Amanda Lear is supposedly a French singer, songwriter, painter, television presenter, actress, and former model. Now, the reason why I say probably French is there's a lot of we don't know where she's from, who she is. There's a lot of fake IDs, a lot of stories around her. There's places that have her born in Saigon or Hong Kong or France. Nobody knows what the fuck this lady's deal is, okay?
Oh, she's like Tommy Wiseau, except I don't care.
She is the female. She's the original Tommy Wiseau. So, yeah, her origins are completely unclear. As she's provided with different information about her background and keeping her birth year a secret, even to her long-term husband. There's been... It's
kind of not uncommon for people of her generation, though, especially Europeans,
Yep.
It's just not one of those, it'd be surprising if this was the case 1970 on, but she was 40 when this album came out, so when I was when I heard about that, I was like, yeah. A lot of people fell through the cracks pre-modern era.
Yeah. I mean, because they have her birth date ranges from 1939 to 1946 and 1950, dude. She could have been born anywhere in there. But most people believe that she's around 81, 82 years as of today. Her birthplace, Saigon or British Hong Kong, but places like Singapore, Switzerland, Transylvania, Germany have also been rumored to be her birthplace. So, not only this, but she is considered an icon in the LGBT community, as allegations claiming that Lear is a drag queen or even went intersex has been circling the beginning of her modeling and singing career. Her Salvador Dali she was Salvador Dali's muse. She was a lot of people's muse. But Salvador Dali commented and said, yeah, she's intersex. She had She had surgery. But she's contested it. So like there is just so much around like mystique around this person. And then she contradicted the rumors and said that Salvador Dali started them, or she said, "Oh, we started that to get me publicity." So yeah, it's really, really, really fascinating, the story behind her.
Well, also as a mystery is like the rights to her music, because I'm just gonna throw this. I could listen to the second half of this album on Spotify, but the first half was not.
Dude, it's not on YouTube Music either, which is what I have. So I had luckily there was someone who recorded the A and B side on vinyl.
Yeah,
so
remastered them too, so they're a little more cleaned up than the Spotify audio.
Yeah,
it doesn't help people. It doesn't help itself.
No. So yeah, so she started, in the 1960s, in the 60s and 70s, she got into modeling, hung out with Salvador Dali. They dated for a long time, and she became a big part of the whole swinging London period. And she dropped out of art school and started hanging out with Twiggy and Patty Boyd and Anita Pallenberg. She dated Brian Jones. She's been linked to Mick Jagger, Keith Richards. She dated David Bowie, Keith Moon, Jimmy Page. I believe that this would be one of she was probably a Ruby Tuesday, if you're familiar with that whole thing musically, which was typically a reference to a particular groupie that was around all the bands at the time. You know what I'm talking about, Joe?
Yeah.
And did we ever get the identity of who Ruby Tuesday was?
Not that I know of. When it comes to the songs about groupies, Plaster Caster's probably the more interesting of them. And if you guys don't know, it's a woman. She was a groupie, and she did plasters of like the members of the men she slept with. Mm-hmm. And according to her, the biggest dick, Huey Lewis.
Really?
Yep.
Really? Good for Huey. Well, there you go. I mean, he was the news.
It's the power of love, Paul.
It's the power of love. But was that his whole song? Because was that kind of like Gabriel's Sledgehammer? Because Peter Gabriel came out and said that Sledgehammer was about his dick, like straight up. He's like, yeah, I wrote that song about my cock. Anyways, so then she started hanging out with Bowie in 1974. And because she was just kind of burnt out of the whole fashion scene, and a lot of people got burned out from that whole swinging London period. And she and Bowie were dating for a long time, and he paid for her singing and dancing lessons, and he recommended her to the same vocal coach that he had. And they recorded a song together called "Star." And it was never released. Like, it just never came out.
Color me shocked.
So,
like half of these stories you're telling me, I don't even believe they're real. She never met David Bowie. We don't even know when she was born or where she's from.
God damn it, Amanda!
God damn it, Gilmer!
Damn it! Tell us where you're from. So Lear's debut single "Trouble" was a pop rock cover of Elvis Presley's Trouble song. It released unsuccessfully by a minor label called Creole Records. A French language version of the track was released on Polydor in France and was equally unsuccessful there. Now, it became a minor disco hit. I want to repeat that. A pop rock cover of a Elvis song became a minor disco hit in West Germany in 1976. The track caught the attention of singer, composer, and producer Anthony Mann and his label Erola, which offered her a 7-year, 6-album recording contract. That the sum of money that Lear has described as, quote, astronomic. Her debut album, called I Am a Photograph, released in 1977, considered most songs that were composed by Mann. Well, it wasn't until 1978 when her line of disco hits with Sweet Revenge came out. Sweet Revenge was the breakthrough album for her and her most recognized album.
Which, again, you can't find anywhere. I looked it up. It was last released on CD in 1992, Paul, when we were a hopping 11 years old.
We were a hopping 11 years old. Yeah.
And put in context, we're almost 40.
Yeah. No, it's
just been out of print for almost 39 years.
Yes, it's been out of print for
29 years.
Mm-hmm. Now, with this album, Sweet Revenge, what I really wanted to talk about was she was going to put a movie out with it, and it was done by God. Give me just a second, because I can't pronounce the Italian or French name of it.
I hope it had the same creative juices that this album had.
Yeah, so it was called Folly Donati, and it's called Crazy Nights here, and it was Joe D'Amato, and Joe D'Amato was known for a lot of exploitation, giallo Italian films. I personally love Joe D'Amato and his work. I'm a huge fan of that kind of 70s noir, Italian noir films, and this became a huge thing, okay? Because she had filmed stuff for this, for kind of promotion and a few other things. And it was originally supposed to be a musical around called Follow Me. She believed the movie itself was incomplete until it showed up at Italian theaters under this name, and she was horrified to discover that she had been tricked into starring in an exploitation film. She sued the producers, and the movie did not get released. And as far as I know, this year, 2020, it was released in 2020. Finally, after 40 years of it being in obscurity because of the lawsuits and everything. Yeah.
And unlike The Day the Clown Cried, nobody was waiting for this to come out. And if you guys don't know about The Day the Clown Cried, it's a Jerry Lewis comedy about a concentration camp.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir, it is. So that's as far as I'm going to get. If you guys are really, really interested in Amanda Lear, there's more to it. My God, there's just so much. She recorded an album called Diamonds for Breakfast and released singles in Japan called Ho Fado L'Amore Con Me, which is considered autoerotic. It's a song about masturbation. It was her she-bop. So there we go. So yeah, Joe, that's enough prefacing. We've been dancing around this son of a bitch. Joe, what did you think of Sweet Revenge?
This is what happens when an ashtray makes a disco album.
Go on.
It was bad. There's at one point, we'll get into it because this is not a long album, everybody. It's probably about a half hour.
Yeah, it's about a half hour long.
There's a track called Mother, Look What They've Done to Me. And as soon as I heard the melody of the music, I started singing, Believe It or Not, I'm Walking on Air.
Believe it or not, I'm done. George isn't at home.
So the first half of this record is a medley. It's a disco. It's a misguided disco medley. It's like a It's like the B-side to Abbey Road if like Abbey Road was recorded by a bunch of shitheads. We talked about it briefly before we did this, that she sings off beat. She's not in the rhythm of anything.
No, it's completely off rhythm. Yeah.
And about her age at this point would be in like maybe close to 40ish, and she's already got like 60-year-old Tom Waits 5 packs a day voice, which is even more jarring.
Yeah.
I'm singing.
I'm singing the the piano has been drinking.
Yeah, and it's just, and then there's there's moments where there's actual songs,
and
it gets like they just throw every like instrument they can find, where it's just like there's actually like moments where it's like this would be a, not completely awful if they just took out the disco track and just like kept the orchestra in there and it just been like a crooner song. This is shitty Nico. This is what this is.
See, and that's what I said. I said this is like Nico fucking went out and made a fucking disco album. Like this is if
I have a feeling Nico would make a better disco album than this. Come on.
Maybe
get John Cale producing that, we'd actually have something worth listening to.
I will say that I think if anyone listened to this and didn't know who it was, I would say it was like you would have thought like, oh, this is a Nico album I've never heard. Like, what the fuck is this?
Then there's a novelty song on it.
Yeah.
Comics.
Oh, comics. Mm-hmm. Or what about Enigma? Give a bit of to me.
Oh God. Well, then there's the stud where all of a sudden we got guitar and it's like it's somehow worse rock guitar than like late era Kiss, where it's like come on, like,
yeah, it's bad.
What the fuck is this? So in my notes I did write early on that this is proof that cocaine does not always make a band or an artist better.
Yeah, well, so Anthony Munn composed a lot of these songs. He composed Follow Me, Mother, Look at What They've Done, Run Baby Run, the Follow Me Repraise. He did and Hollywood Flashback.
I think Great American Hero needs to sue this guy.
Yeah, I mean, this is what it was. And Anthony Munn was, I mean, he didn't, I mean, there's a reason why you don't hear of Anthony Munn, right? And this is part of it. I mean, this guy kind of was like this, he thought he was this awesome composer. I mean, the most he did was most he ever was known for himself was a duet with Marion Mars for a German language cover of a Robert Palmer 1981 song. So, I mean, this guy, his greatest international success is his work with Amanda Lear. Now, interestingly enough, this was recorded in Giorgio Moroder's Musicland Studios. Now, if anyone who is in the know, Giorgio is badass. Like, this is the guy that really started modern music with like the synthesizer and the click. If you haven't listened to, he actually gives talks on a particular track on Random Access Memory by Daft Punk, and he actually tells the story.
Did he listen to this album and then commit suicide?
No, he later went on to score Midnight Express, American Gigolo, Superman 3, Scarface, The Neverending Story, and Metropolis. So he just said, "Fuck this, I can do better," and ran off and became famous. So, yeah, he is like Giorgio's big time. I just get the impression that Anthony was like this well-to-do guy that kind of was born into money and was like, I'm going to be a fucking music producer. Like, that's what I get from my opinion of this Anthony guy. So, Let's continue, Joe. Yeah. So then we had Hollywood Flashback, followed by it was the Stud by Hollywood Flashback.
Yep.
Was there any highlights that you thought?
This really tested me. I've said that I can find something good, and I did. I found even though the song Enigma is pretty bad.
Yep.
It had this element where I could see this song being like it feels like it could fit in Kill Bill somewhere on the soundtrack.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like it's not terrible. And there's moments like where what song was it? Follow Me Reprise would have been a lot better if they just took the disco out of it.
Yeah.
Because there's like a string arrangement with it, which kind of like this is just it's like when Axl Rose did Chinese Democracy and he threw every instrument on every track.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just get a little. There's no room to breathe. I mean, granted, this album was never going to be good to begin with, but there's like elements where I'm just like, if they stripped this down and orchestra, it could have been a half listenable crooner album.
So it's interesting. So there's a lot of versions of this. I think what we listened to, at least the one I listened to, was the original LP on vinyl, right? There's an Italian version. There's a Spanish cassette edition. There is a CD edition. Now, what's interesting is the CD edition considers the first, side A, one track. It is only one track.
Well, in a sense, it kind of is.
Right? It's a 20-minute disco song. It's really what it is.
But you gotta remember, they did disco mixes in the late 70s. That went on for 20 minutes because people would be so fucked up on cocaine at clubs that they just prolonged disco songs. Like Donna Summer at Infamous at like Love to Love You Baby or whatever. There's like a 20-minute version of that song. So, it's not surprising. It feels like it's ambitious, but it's misguided ambition.
Yes.
Like a medley and I read it was like this medley is like a part of a concept album-ish thing.
Yeah. No, if you listen to the lyrics, there's a disco concept album going on in here. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely there is. And I was kind of taken aback by that. I'm like, who asked for the disco concept album? Now I just need to make one. Yeah, to give you an idea, like when you talk about there's a lot of people on this, there was the lead vocals, there was a guitar, backing vocals, drums, more backing vocals, another bass guitar, an engineer, more backup vocals, a recorder, programming, an arranger, more backup vocals, more arrangers, more keyboards, more synthesizers, throw some more backing vocals, and another bass guitarist.
Why? It doesn't sound inspired at all.
No.
Despite all that. I mean, if you even the song "The Stud" sounds like a ripoff of Heart's Barracuda.
It does. So let's talk about the reception. In the weekly charts, it peaked at 50 in Australia, 8 in Austria, 17 in France, number 4 in Germany, 9 in Italy, and 9 in the Netherlands. Nowhere in the U.S. did it chart.
Me shocked.
America was not ready for the 20-minute disco concept album, apparently. At the end of your charts, it had hit. It peaked at 14 in Austria, 15 in Germany, 35 in Italy, 30 in the Netherlands. In France and Germany, this album is certified gold. Mm-hmm. And it was
they lost the war, Paul.
It was released in RCA Records here in the U.S., by the way, in 1978. Then it was yep. It's really interesting. It was released in Germany, Spain, Austria, Benelux, United Kingdom, France, Italy, Portugal, Yugoslavia, Greece, Canada, U.S., and Australia in 1978. Took 2 years for it to be released in Venezuela. It was re-released on CD in 1992 in Germany only, and on October 17th of October 2017, it was released on picture disc in Italy.
Do you think this album and how bad it was inspired the socialist revolution in Venezuela? Because I think Hugo Chavez heard this and just like, fuck death to Europeans. Fuck death to the West.
Death to the West. This is who made the 20-minute disco concept album. As far as for me, there are things like I enjoy bad music to an extent, right? Like I own every William Shatner album. I will totally I have a weird quirk. Of many weird quirks. If a particular if an actor puts out a music album, I have to have it. Because I'm drawn to this. I'm like, this is gonna be either epically awesome or like a fail fuck train. And there are things that I can appreciate in this for it being bad. Honestly, like I kind of got to enjoy almost like the offbeat vocals of it. It kind of reminded me of when Blondie tried to do the rap in Rapture live at a particular show. I think Deborah Harry was so fucked up she couldn't keep up with it at the thing I saw. So it's kind of like, okay, we got this weird ass like awful live Blondie thing going. Okay, cool. But it goes on too long. It goes on way too long. And it's outside of that though, it's a weird disco. It doesn't feel like full on disco to me. I don't know about you. Like when I think disco, I don't think what I'm listening to. It's like if Kiss made a disco album.
Kiss did make a disco album.
Oh, motherfucker.
Have you not heard I was made for loving you?
God. Oh, fuck my life.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, like, this is like, I like some disco. Mm-hmm. This is just disco done wrong.
Yeah, this is a disco
completely misguided because the vocals and the melodies and all that, they don't pop, and that's the thing that with disco is like it's really fucking catchy. That's what that was the appeal of disco. Like, say what you will about the Bee Gees, they made really poppy, fucking catchy songs.
Absolutely.
Same with ABBA, and those are two groups that I do have on random list playlists.
I do like it. I'll totally admit I like ABBA.
Oh, Dancing Queen, Jesus, that's just such a good song.
It's a good song. It really is.
Waterloo, like, oh man, it's. Yeah.
I got into ABBA because it was my grandpa on my mom's side. It was his favorite band. So he had all the vinyls of ABBA. Yeah, ABBA's the shit.
Crazy. And they have a huge fan base, like in Europe. Like back in the 90s, they were offered like large sums of money for a reunion, like almost $1 billion. I think it was like it was insane, and they were like, nope, because I think one of the members she's agoraphobic now.
I think so. Yeah, she would. Yeah, she became a recluse.
Yeah, so they just never were able. But that's disco done well. Like. I know you don't like the Bee Gees, but you can still listen to like Staying Alive and be like, there's a structure here and it's catchy and this is working for it. Like,
I'm sorry.
You don't like it.
Andy Gibb was the most talented of all the Bee Gees, sir. And he wasn't even in that group.
The only good thing Andy Gibb did was die.
By the way, did you know, random fact, that the that Follow Me, the song was featured in the Dallas Buyers Club?
Never saw it.
Okay, well, it's in there. Yep. So yeah, I also wonder if like the Italian version's better, because English was not this woman's first language, obviously.
Well, there's nothing making this album. The vocals could be in fucking Swahili. It's not gonna help it.
I'm just wondering, maybe she was on key, because words are different. I'm just wondering if she not on key, but on beat. I'm wondering if she was on beat in the Italian version. That's all I'm saying.
It doesn't even matter. It sounds like fucking Joe Strummer and Tom Waits guzzling glass and then doing vocals. It's just, it doesn't, you know. And again, these vocals don't really lend itself to the genre, the disc.
No.
She has a very smoky voice, which would work if it was more down tempo, I'd say, with like more of an orchestra, kind of like what Marianne Faithfull has done since over the years, or even what's her name, Joni Mitchell.
Yep.
These kind of vocals work when it's done well.
Yeah.
Here it's not done well. In fact, they get buried sometimes in the mix.
Yeah. No, it does. It does, audience. It does get buried in the mix sometimes. So outside of that, though, like, yeah, I'm with you on this. Like, again, it's like if Nico tried to sing a disco album, and you can't. You just don't have the vocals for disco. So, I mean, and she got out pretty early, by the way. By 1981, she was becoming increasingly uncomfortable with the expectations and pressures of the music business. And
who was fucking listening to her? Come on, like some of the songs on here, like the background sounds like NES, like fucking video game theme music. Gold, I wrote in my notes, sounds like at times it sounds like it's like the music from Blow Glow 13. Like, what the fuck?
So, yeah, I mean, this is weird. Again, she's just weird in general, right? But
I don't even think she's real. I think it's an elaborate trick on me. I think this is like some prank you came up with.
Well, we were supposed to record on April 1st. No, what happened was in 1981, that all went awry, and she was starting to feel the effects of anti-disco backlash, especially coming out of the late 70s, early 80s, and she started to record recording tracks for a forthcoming album with this Trevor Horn in London. However, Munn did not approve and informed Lear that she had to return to Munich and provide the company and the market with another product with Munn. The results of this session was an album called Incognito, which is only partly co-written by Lear, which was a new wave album. It generated
from one fad straight into another.
Yes, and it had one minor hit, a French ballad called Égal, and met with some relative success in Scandinavia. It was also her breakthrough album in South America.
See, I don't believe any of this. This sounds all just made up. Dude, she did not break out in South America.
He broke out in South America.
Well, one guy down there accidentally bought the album and was like, it's a hit!
No,
a copy!
Apparently 3 tracks recorded in Spanish called Égal, Dama de Berlin, and Nymphomania, which were Spanish tracks became a hit a relative hit in South America. Another non-album single followed, was just a synth pop song on the pop classic Fever, which was and that was her final collaboration with Munn. She shortly afterwards took legal action against the label for artistic differences. She lost, and she lost. And had had to remain with the label until 1983, as stipulated in the original contract. In 1982, another single was released. A double A-side single, "Love Your Body, Light of Darkness," was released in 1983. And those were Lear's final Munich recordings for the Areola Areola company. And then at that point, her international career was slowing, and eventually came to an end with their sixth and final album called Tam Tam, which was a modern minimalist 80s synth pop album with a soundscape dominated by a rolling drum machine and synthesizers. She wrote all the album in English, did not promote in West Germany or in Europe, and and never did. And basically, Tam Tam was like never. It went basically unnoticed. Like nobody knows of Tam Tam.
Nor should they.
Nor should they. So, yeah, I mean, Joe, where do you go? I mean, it's the story. Again, this is one of those things where the stories behind the album and the music and like her work is far more fascinating than what we're listening to.
Honestly, the story of her is just as mediocrely boring as this album was. Like, I found nothing of what you said interesting. My eyes glazed over. Like,
pay attention, Gilmer.
This is like a biopic that if you offered it to a movie studio and they buy just about any biopic, they'd be like, "We're good."
Oh, dude, no way. No way you got Salvador Dali, David Bowie, she's fucking everyone.
Yeah, nothing's interesting about any of those. Like, you don't remember the Amanda Lear era of David Bowie. Hell, I didn't even know he dated her or knew her before this podcast.
Well, again, they recorded a track together. It's just no one ever heard it. You know it's bad.
She has like the most boring and mediocre story in music for somebody who might be like, like a very interesting like backstory of, maybe being transgender or intersex, and nobody knows where she is. And it's like there's this mystery when you started the story, and then it just fell like a lead balloon. God damn,
he's gonna kill me over here. Fuck.
Like nothing came out of it, man. It was like it was a weak orgasm, man. You built it up and then just like
it just drizzled out. All right, yeah. Fair enough.
It's fair. Like, you eat some, Taco Bell, and you feel like a great shit coming, and it just doesn't. That's what the story of Sweet Revenge was.
Oh my God! All right, so Joe, would you recommend this album?
No. Yeah. Given the randomness of having to try to hunt down these tracks for it, there's a reason why it's not available anywhere.
Fuck me, man. Jesus Christ. All right. If you're a fan of train wrecks,
it's not even for a train wreck. It's like a boring train wreck.
Yeah, okay. If you're a fan of 10-mile-an-hour train wrecks,
it slowly hits a car and starts denting it very slowly.
I would say listen to this album. But outside of that, no, I can't recommend a disco concept album.
It's only half a concept album. It's like if you bought Pink Floyd The Wall and only the first record was a concept and the rest, the album 2 was like some random group of songs.
It's like Uma Gooma.
Like Uma Gooma. Except Uma Gooma has more interesting elements to it.
Yeah, it does. Holy fuck. I'm gonna die over here, motherfucker. Oh my God. Holy fuck, yeah, no, it's yeah, half a concept album. No. No. Can't say I recommend it. Honestly, if I did recommend it, you'd have to find it.
And good luck with that. The Spotify tracks, I don't even know if those are like even the versions that were on the official album.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, honestly, I don't know what version I listened to. I just know it was on vinyl. It could be in the Italian. I don't know.
Man,
oh,
like I was looking through the comments on the YouTube video, and like there's people saying this is the greatest album ever made. I was just flabbergasted.
You know,
there's just some people out there, I swear, hate music.
Yeah, I don't I don't get it. It's weird. Holy fuck. Yeah, it's anyone who says this is the best album ever made is an asshole.
Big time asshole. I kind of think you're an asshole for suggesting we listen to this.
You listened to this and then said, this is the greatest thing I've ever heard. Fuck you, asshole. Oh my god. Yeah, could you imagine being at a party and you're being at a party with one of those guys? This guy's like, dude, you guys gotta hear this.
I would have walked right out.
Oh god. He takes over the aux cord and makes everyone listen to this fucking thing. Holy fuck. Yeah, no, this this was a bad album. I think this is the worst one we've ever done.
It's pretty close.
Yeah. This makes me want to go listen to Momentary Lapse of Reason, and that takes a lot of effort.
That makes me feel bad about myself.
Yeah, right. I just hate me. I hate me for wanting to do that.
Oh.
So fuck, man. Yeah, no. This is awful. All right. Well, then again, I didn't listen to the album beforehand. I just knew about it from the fucking movie, which is just nothing but like TNA, like straight fucking an hour and a half. And these songs from this album, dude.
Let's just like give people an insight that you started listening to this shortly after we recorded the last episode. And you messaged me right away. I think I made a big mistake.
I did. I messaged you right. Like, I think it was the day after I started listening to it. I'm like, well, I should probably listen to this thing. And I went, oh, fuck no. But at that time, I was already fucking in the rabbit hole. I was like, well, I'm not going to fucking change it. So, oh, Christ. All right, Joe, I'm going to die if we keep going here. Tell me, it's your pick next week. What the fuck are we doing?
Paul, I'm throwing you a treat.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to do a somewhat of a follow-up from an album we already listened to.
Okay.
It's kind of a follow-up to The Lamb Lays Down on Broadway in that it's an album by the drummer from that band. And it features Peter Gabriel as well. This is my revenge for Amanda Lear, Paul. We're doing No Jacket Required by Phil Collins. God. So get prepared to take me home, Paul, because we're going to studio.
We fucking hate each other, don't we? Holy fuck. Oh. All right. I would have preferred About Face, but all right.
No jacket required.
No jacket required. Thanks, fucking brother Phil. Oh, fuck.
Yeah, this was a good one, Paul.
Yeah, it was. All right. So we already plugged that. I got, by the time this one comes out, everything that I have will be out. I'm running a little behind on getting shit out. We are just sitting on a shit ton of content. I just need to put it up. The new Stranger Things will be added to the channel, to the pod down, to the Joe Down, excuse me. The second cast that movie is done. We are going to be recording the third episode this weekend. that is going to be Dante's Peak. I got some hate for that one, but that's the movie we're doing. Yeah, it's that's the movie where James Bond and Sarah Connor take down a volcano.
Well, Paul, no matter what, it can't be as bad as Sweet Revenge.
Oh God!
This is the new watermark of terrible.
Dude, I'm gonna send you a link to the movie so you can see it. You won't believe it. You'll just be like, "What the fuck is happening here?"
I just remember it came out, and I had no interest in watching it.
What's that?
I just remember when that movie came out, and I had no interest in watching it.
Oh yeah, no. Well, it came out, in the 90s. There was just this slew of terrible disaster movies. There was Dante's Peak. There was a movie called Volcano. There was a movie called The Storm. I mean, it was just, after Twister, there was just this rush to make disaster movies in the 90s. And besides Twister, they all were fucking terrible. And the only reason why Twister was any fucking good is because it had Bill Paxton. Otherwise, that movie would have sucked.
Why didn't Hollywood jump on better fads like Con Air?
They did. They did. What was it? Broken Arrow?
Oh God, that was fantastic. Face Off.
Face Off. Yeah, there was a whole shit ton of those movies. What was it? Air Force. What was the one with where Steven Seagal got top billing but died 2 minutes into it? With Kurt Russell. What was that one? Airplane Down or something? Oh. Black Hawk Down, was that it?
No, that was based on an actual military incident.
Oh God, it was where Kurt Russell, I think, was the president. Executive Decision. That was it. Executive Decision. Yeah, where Steven Seagal got second billing and he dies super early in the movie. Yeah, they did jump on the Con Air bandwagon, you fuck, and it was awful.
Con Air is cinematic perfection, Paul.
Joe Pesci playing a child molester. Who would have thought?
Steve Buscemi.
Oh yeah, Steve Buscemi. What did I say?
Joe Pesci.
Jesus Christ. My mind is broke from this episode. Fuck my life. All right. Well, everyone, thanks for listening on this particular episode of Rate That Album. If we can get the YouTube channel up to 50 subscribers, you will get a song of You and I covered by me. If we get to 100, I can't remember what we promised, but we promised more music by me.
You're going to cover Little Babies by Slater Kenny.
Yeah. Fine, done. I'll do it. I'll make a cover of that. So there we go. That's if we get to 100. And if we get to 1,000 subscribers, you guys, I will make an entire cover of Sweet Revenge. The entire album.
I'd rather hear you cover the entire No Jacket Required.
Oh. No, you got to get me the 5,000 before I do that shit, dude. Holy fuck. All right. Joe, with that, take us the fuck out of here.
I got nothing.
We're broke. This
album broke us.
See you next episode, people. Jesus fucking Christ.